Hello, mystics. Welcome to Moon Magic. Moon magic is part of a larger system of magic known as planetary magic. Planetary magic is described according to Meltia Denning and Osborne Phillips in their magical philosophy book. Astronomy is the science of that which looks at the stars. Astrology is the science of that which interprets information. Planetary magic is the science that reveals how to use interpretations to improve your life and the lives of others. You do not need to have studied astrology extensively in order to work with planetary magic. The sources of planetary magic can be found all the way back to ancient India, Sumer, and Babylon. This type of magic is the bridge between natural or low magic and ceremonial or high magic. Each of the ancient 7 planets, the Sun, Sol, the Moon, Luna, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus are all part of this planetary magical system. Astronomy tells us of the orbits and brightness of these 7 planets. It is important to note that all of these planets are not planets. As we know today, the Sun is a star. But astrology tells us that the effects of these planets play out in our lives by the varying and bending of light reflected visibly and radiating through or invisibly through the universe. Each planet has attributes that define them. As Franz Kumot wrote in The Mysteries of Mithra, conformability to astrological theories, the planets were endowed with virtues and qualities, for which it is frequently difficult for us to discover adequate reasons for. To each, one metal was consecrated. To each, their number has caused a special religious potency to be attributed to the number seen, in descending order from the Empyrean to the earth. The distinct phases of the lunar cycle have associations with different states of being. These states mirror a kind of spiritual quest, which, like the search for ourselves, never ends. When we observe the moon, we see reflections of the grand pattern of life that is birth, death, and rebirth. We see this idea in the adoption of the triple goddess credited to Starhawk, Spiral Dance, and Margot Adler's Drawing Down the Moon, both published in 1979. The triple goddess also references the maiden mother crone, 3 aspects of one being which can be seen in cycles found throughout mythology and nature. She symbolizes the separate stages of the female life cycle through the waxing moon, full moon, waning moon, and new moon phases. The waxing moon stands for the maiden and symbolizes purity, youth, new life, beginnings, rejuvenation, excitement, enchantment, and expansion. The full moon represents the mother and represents fulfillment, fertility, ripeness, potency, compassion, giving, caring, nurturing, protection, and power. The waxing moon represents the crone and stands for repose, maturity, wisdom, experience, knowledge, understanding, completion, death, and rebirth. In its entirety, the symbol is believed to signify the eternal cycle of birth, life, and rebirth. The new moon is similar to the waxing moon, representing the crone, often death itself, and the rebirth beginning on the new moon. We understand this difference very quickly through one moment when the moon is completely black, and then as soon as it ticks 1% of reflection, the new moon has begun. In Greek mythology, an example of trinity deities include Artemis, Selene, Hecate, whereas Artemis is the waxing moon or maiden, Selene the full moon or mother, and Hecate the waning moon or crone. These distinctions mirror the trinity or threefold nature of the triple goddess throughout the other pantheons. For ancient peoples, the moon was used as a calendar. Because the moon forms as it shifts through the 8 key phases every 29.5 days, it was used to mark the changing of the seasons and even the best time to plant or harvest crops. As the moon orbits around the earth, it appears in different areas in the sky. Because of this, the moon is constantly moving through the different constellations of the Zodiac, changing signs every 2.5 days. Just as the planets have specific signifiers, so do the zodiac signs. This is a short but by no means comprehensive list of 12 moon signs with associated keywords and phrases for you to incorporate into your moon workings. Aries, taking initiative, starting new projects, and being extroverted. Taurus, security, pleasure, and getting things done. Gemini, communication. Cancer, connecting with the feelings of home and domestic life. Leo, leadership and confidence. Virgo, service, well-being, and self-care. Libra, balance, harmony, and compromise. Scorpio, healing, rebirth, a fresh start. Sagittarius, adventure, taking a risk or trying something new. Capricorn, structure and long-term goals. Aquarius, passion and love, unconventional ideas. And Pisces, creativity, passion, and reflection. Working and living by the moon cycles is one of the easiest ways to work with magic. The moon controls the tides in our ocean. The moon affects our emotional and psychological bodies. Using this cycle of the moon phases, you are able to harness this energy and amplify your magic. You plant an intention, you energize it, and send it off. And then learn to release it with the waning moons. Moon magic is based on what is called sympathetic magic, which is the idea that we perform magic that imitates the desired outcome. In this case, as the moon's light grows, we too focus on what we want to grow. As the moon shrinks, we focus on what we want to let go of. A good way to remember the moon phases is wax on and wane off. Another important thing to keep in mind is what zodiac sign is currently affecting the moon. Each zodiac sign will affect you and your magic differently. And if the moon is in your sign, expect to be feeling her energy a little bit extra sensitively. Moon phases are a small piece of planetary magic that also includes so many other planets that we will talk about later in the future. Remember, there are 7 of them. Each moon phase correlates to a specific type of magic and intention. Let's go through the full moon cycle. The new moon. This is when the moon ticks at 1% illuminated. When it begins, you might not be able to visibly see the moon in the sky because it is so dark. This is a time for a fresh slate when we have the opportunity to recalibrate and release that which no longer is serving us. The waxing moon. As the moonlight grows, so do we. In this 2-week period between the new and full moon, you have a window of time to plant those seeds and manifest your intentions. This is a time to cultivate communication, love, finances, healing, and health. The full moon. The full moon is the most powerful and potent moon phase. This is a time of spiritual and psychic activity. Moon is known as Lunar. You may recognize this in the word lunatic. The full moon is the best time for any kind of magic you want. Its power is so potent it can amplify any spell. If you're an empath or energetically sensitive, then you might feel the full moon energy the most. The waning moon. As the moon's light shrinks, we begin to focus on what we want to release. Whether it is a toxic relationship or negative thought pattern, you are allowed to give yourself permission to release it. Letting go of that which no longer serves you does not make you weak. Think of this as a time of cosmic permission. The moon is giving you total permission to put yourself first. So how do you know what time of the moon you should use? You need to reflect on your spell. What is the goal of this spell? What is your intention? And then match up your intention with one of those phases. Are you trying to banish or cleanse, or are you trying to bring in love and healing? When you have a clear understanding of your intention, you then can do detective work and figure out when that moon phase is and what zodiac sign is going to be in. Then you can determine whether or not those attributes will work for your intention. Will those energies mix and create a positive result? It is possible to mix and match the wrong moon phases with the wrong zodiac sign. And sometimes that can cause, at best, nothing to happen, your spell doesn't work, and at worst, a potential backfire. So with all of that in mind, how are we able to use the energy of the moon? Luckily, it's fairly easy. because the moon is already exhilarating its own energies and mass into the universe. It's affecting the earth and our experience in it every day. This is why you can put moon water outside, and even if the moon beams don't directly hit it, the effect will still last in the water. The moon's energy affects the earth as a whole. Remember, it controls our tides. Even if you can't see the moon, if it's raining or there's cloud cover, or if you're stuck inside and you can't go outside, you can still take advantage of the moon energy and its power. You are putting that energy out into the universe. You're making it happen. So use it to your benefit. There are some other unique types of moon magic, including eclipse magic. A lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth's shadow blocks the sun's rays, causing it to appear temporarily darkened. Unlike a solar eclipse, which can only be seen in a few parts of the world, a lunar eclipse can be spotted by anyone on the nighttime side of the planet. In modern magical traditions, a lunar eclipse is considered to be a kind of metaphysical bonus round. In other words, any spell work that you do during this eclipse period is amplified. There's an extra oomph or power behind it. However, lately, there has been this idea floating around the internet that doing magic during the eclipse is just plain dangerous. There is absolutely no logical basis for this theory. If you're worried enough about the state of your psyche and you believe it could be somehow damaged by doing magic during an eclipse, then you need to either A, not do magic at all during an eclipse, or B, learn how to ground and center and shield yourself so you could not self-sabotage any workings that you do. So what kind of working should you focus on during an eclipse? Well, remember, an eclipse only takes place during the full moon phase of the lunar cycle. So this is a good time to do almost any ritual you want, but I would personally focus on ones that are on personal growth and spiritual development. There are so many different apps that you can find on the Apple Store, Google Play, or even public calendars to track the moon cycles and the Zodiac phases. If you want to go old school, you can buy a farmer's almanac to track the moon cycles. Learning the lunar calendar had a profound effect on my life and my workings. For me, it's better than thinking of my week Monday through Sunday, 9 to 5. I really think that the moon cycles have potential to expand not only your magic, but also your mind. If you have any questions, please drop them for me in the Discord chat. And until the next class, stay magical.